Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Jimmy here with another great video for you guys regarding photography. Now today we're going to talk about more of a deep dive into an image that I took about a month and a half ago that I'm really proud of. And it's not really about what kind of photographer I think I am or how good you think I am or not. It's not about that. It's more asking the right questions when you see a picture and analyzing it. So I thought we can do that together with this image that I'm going to show you here. So this image is actually taken in Millennium Park in Chicago. I really love this picture. I'm going to do a deep dive into it and ask questions like what equipment was used, what perspective did you have when you got there, and how did it change as you started taking more pictures? What hiccup did you run into? What post-processing was done? Anything like that, or what software was used? Mainly we want to get into the motivation as well behind everything. So I think that's really important when you're analyzing art or photography in general. I think it's really important to answer these questions because we're inundated with so many images nowadays. With a click of a button, I can go on the internet and find tons of amazing artists and their pictures and just kind of go, yeah, they're all great, and flip right through them, right? With Twitter, Instagram, oh my God, so many amazing pictures that we get dated, we get desensitized to it all. When we should be amazed, we should be asking the right questions like, wow, how did you get that picture? If you had access to that equipment in that moment in time, would you have taken that same picture? Asking these kinds of questions really fascinate me. So with this image here, let's get into that right now. Like I said, this picture is of the Bean in Millennium Park, and it's a very fantastic structure there. I think Jelly Belly created it with tons of extra aluminum foil that they had left over at the warehouse, or maybe that story is completely false. I think it's actually called the Alien Spaceship, made by some artist. I'm ashamed that I don't know that, but everyone calls it the Bean, so the Bean it is. Everyone has photographed this thing from, all the countries in the world a million times over, so this bean has been photographed a million times. So I kind of thought and was inspired by all these people and thought maybe I can take my own perspective of this bean, because that's what it's all about, getting your own perspective, telling your own story to wow yourself, not other people. I think photography is impressing yourself. If you can't do that, don't expect other people to to care about your images. You want to have it stir up something in you when you take a great picture. So that's exactly what I set out to do. I got my Fuji X-T1 and my 10-24 lens here, the wide angle lens. And with the crop factor that the mirrorless camera has, it's 1.5, so this is going to be 15-36. Still very wide, don't let that discourage you. I put that on and went out there with this awesome lens. Now I kind of thought, this is such a grand scene. I can't take a bad picture. It's going to be so easy. It was a beautiful day, tons of people, lots of tourists, lots of emotion, and people mingling, and families and friends laughing. No problem. Take about a dozen pictures. Awesome. Call it a day, right? No. I reviewed my pictures and found that the pictures were kind of bland. They weren't all that exciting. And I think the reason why was because the pictures with the perspective I was giving and the story I was trying to tell through these pictures wasn't very compelling. The pictures I was doing were already done. You guys know what I'm talking about? The story I was telling has already been told. The perspectives that I had already were had. And I wasn't just copying, it's just I had nothing new to add to the photography world. And I think that's really important. So what I ended up doing was thinking about quitting and going to a different subject altogether. This huge white head there in Millennium Park, and I'll just take pictures of that instead, because I obviously had nothing more to do here. And you guys might do that. You guys might hit this wall, this creative wall, and think there's nothing I can do here. Now, there is something to be said about giving up and going somewhere else for the sake of your own creativity's sake. But I'm going to challenge you guys to say that if you do hit that wall, to continue just a few more shots, a few more angles, change things up just a little bit more, because that next great shot you don't even know that you're able to produce is just around the corner. Right? And you never know unless you try. So just give it a few more shots, a few more minutes, and you'll see that this amazing picture is about to come up. And that's what happened here. This picture represents that for me. So there's a huge story behind the lens as well, which I find so amazing. All right, so let's talk about the picture itself. How did I end up changing it to get this image? Well, what I ended up doing was taking a 10-24 lens, putting in my X-T1 and getting it onto a tripod, and I lowered it down to the ground. you see with wide angles like this, it really exaggerates things that are close to it. So if it got too close to the floor, it would really exaggerate that. I didn't want too much. I wanted in good taste with slight exaggeration. And you can see on the right side and the left side of the picture, there are some distortions happening with the buildings and the people. And I thought I didn't want to get rid of that. I wanted to keep it. That is a characteristic of the lens, in my opinion, so I keep that. There are some profiles in Adobe software you can correct those distortions. In my opinion, I want to keep it that way. It just works better for me. So by keeping it down low to the ground in good taste, I still have the perspective lines going straight out, radiating from the lens itself. And I also moved the lens a little bit more off center, making the bean not the center subject. Now this may seem a little counterintuitive because I'm there for the bean. Why wouldn't I put the bean dead center? Actually, I tried that, and those are the pictures that came out kind of bland. So by moving it off center, I kind of create this tension there because you want to look at the bean, but you're not looking at the bean, and the bean's right there, but so are all these people. What I did there was create a compelling picture, in my opinion, by not focusing on the bean itself, because we've seen that before already, but now we've created a moment between the people and its environment, which includes the bean, and the scene and the skyscrapers and all that stuff there. You know, I think that's what I was able to do there. And it kind of happened by accident, but also I was tired of seeing the bean dead in the center, so I changed it a little bit. And that's what you got to do. It wasn't until later that I got to my computer and started analyzing the picture, see if I can save it. I saw that everything was in focus because it was such a sunny day. I had to bring down the aperture quite a bit, and it worked well for this picture. All the people were in focus, and I really loved the way it looked, until I saw something really interesting on the left side here. You might have caught it already. There are people taking a selfie of themselves. Now, I did crop it a little bit to cut them really close, but you guys should know this about my style, is that I don't like to crop in post-processing. I don't really like to edit that much at all. So I will take a picture as is and frame it as is, because that's what the challenge is, and I take pictures strictly in JPEG at the moment. I do RAW very infrequently. And the reason why is because I bought a really expensive camera. I want to use it for their film simulations or whatnot. I don't want to spend all my time editing in computers. My thoughts, okay? So you might have seen that I cropped it very close to these people because they are the ones taking pictures of themselves, and they start the story in this timeline that I created, right? They're black and white. They're creating a moment where they're no longer a part of, you know, by taking a picture, they're in history, right? So they're monochrome. And I created this gradient filter in Adobe Camera Raw, which is a software, and I made it gradually turn into the blue, the color, the present, and then the future, where these people are actually enjoying themselves in the moment. So I thought that was a really cool idea that I had, and kind of came by accident by sticking through that wall moment that I talked about earlier. Instead of giving up and going somewhere else, I was able to capture this moment that kind of looks like it was layered on top of one another by taking different pictures and layering it. But actually, this was one moment in time that I was able to get this all and create a story out of it. And I think this is so amazing because I was so worried about not getting a perspective, not having a story to tell with my own camera, that I got this amazing story and I'm really, really proud of it. It kind of explains that thing where all these comedians are talking about now, like Louis C.K. and Jim Gaffigan, that we live our lives through cell phones now, that we don't really live in the moment, that we're busy taking pictures of things instead of actually experiencing them. So in this picture, we have both, right? We have people actually becoming history and people who will remember it with their lives and their families and friends, right? So this kind of wraps it up for this video for you guys in terms of this picture. I really hope you enjoy this deep dive, and with the future pictures that are going to be coming out, I'm going to make more videos just like this where we can have more discussions about, you know, what the thought process was, what cameras did I use, and what mistakes did I make. And which brings me to the point, guys, if you have any constructive criticism, please feel free to leave it below or if you like the picture at all, go ahead and leave comments as well as a thumbs up, and share the video, and come back often because I'm going to have more pictures and more analysis for you guys. And please send me links to your videos and analyzing your pictures, or send in your pictures to me where I can analyze them, hopefully give you some pointers as well. But I'm sure we're all going to be developing together. All right, guys? Thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to you soon. Until the next video. Bye.